Coping with COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Happy Thursday and welcome to Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor, and it's time for No Justice, No Peace with the 5th Circuit Solicitors Office. Today, Assistant Solicitor and Director of Affiliate Services, Hans Pauling, joins us to discuss the various programs offered. Hans, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the conversation about all of the programs and services that the Solicitor's Office offers. We'll get to that in just a short, but first, here are your COVID community updates. Forecasters are calling for a wintry mix this weekend. Watch out for freezing rain and maybe a bit of snow Saturday night into Sunday. We'll talk to a local meteorologist tomorrow about it. DOT is already preparing the roads, putting down salt and ice-breaking chemicals along interstates and near emergency shelters and medical facilities. Prisma Health closed their COVID testing site at Richland Hospital yesterday. They are encouraging people to visit the location at Columbia Place Mall on True Notch Road that we told you about yesterday. It's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week and offers COVID tests and vaccinations. Drive-to testing is available for employees of Prisma Health and pre-surgical patients only at the Prisma Health location. And local eateries are looking forward to Restaurant Week kicking off today in Columbia. The hope is that the 11-day celebration will infuse some revenue into the industry that is hurting due to the pandemic. The almost 100 restaurants will offer specials, discounts, and promotions, encouraging people to enjoy their various cuisine. Visit restaurantweeksouthcarolina.com for a list of restaurants and to make a reservation. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing in and around South Carolina. Visit scdheck.gov for more information. Now, Columbia Mall Vaccine Testing Clinic, as I just said, is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., doing COVID testing and COVID vaccines. COVID vaccines are also being held at the VA for veterans. If you are a veteran, they are taking care of all COVID vaccinations. Kroger pharmacies are among the retail outlets that are offering COVID vaccinations. You can check the screen for details about that. CVS also offers vaccines, including the locations at Target stores, as does Walgreens. They are also offering the COVID vaccine. Brooklyn Baptist Church has their vaccine clinic. It's open 7 days a week. You can check that out on the screen. And listen, don't miss your shot. You can get a free ride to get your vaccine on the Comet. And you can also go to the Comet bus station location at the corner of Sumter and Laurel Street and get your COVID vaccination there. Now, if you're having a challenge making a COVID vaccine, because maybe you're a little technically challenged, Get Set Up is helping seniors and also folks that are technically challenged to make their COVID vaccine. You can call Get Set Up and you can see that information on the screen also. Several pieces of financial information I want to share with you, including FEMA. They are still doing COVID funeral expenses reimbursement. Contact the link on the screen for more information about that. SC Bar Association and SC Legal has has a toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. Lexington County's Bill Assistance Program is still open and operating. SC Housing and Dominion Energy have a rental and utilities assistance program. And SC Housing has a frontline workers home buying program. SC Hopes has a 24-hour assistance line for the South Carolina Department of Mental Health. So listen, if you or someone you know is having a challenge coping with COVID, please contact the folks at SC Hopes. And the City of Columbia annual food drive to benefit Harvest Hope Food Bank is going on through Monday. They are encouraging you to bring canned goods to the Harvest Hope Food Bank. They also are accepting any financial donations. And finally, the NAACP's virtual MLK program is this Monday. We talked to the folks from the NAACP last week. You can check their website and social media for more information. You're watching No Justice, No Peace on Coping with COVID from the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. Attorney, Solicitor Byron Gipson and his folks come on every second Tuesday to give us some great information. We're looking forward to the conversation. Hey, we are actually streaming live on the Fifth Circuit Solicitor page on Facebook. Go over there and hit like and share and follow. And of course, you can get notifications as to when to watch No Justice, No Peace on Coping with COVID. We're also streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Again, you can receive notifications. You can get all of your COVID-related updates and so much more. We're also streaming live on YouTube. I want to say hi to all of you YouTubers. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And hey, if you want to watch past episodes of Coping with COVID, you can do that on the YouTube page. We also have a presence on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching No Justice, No Peace with the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. Don't forget, if you have a comment or a question, please go to the chat button. I want to say hi to Deshauna Chanel, who says, hi, how have you been? And Deshauna, I have not forgotten about you at all. Going to get your show scheduled. We will be glad to answer your question. Today, from the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Assistant Solicitor and Prosecutor and Director of Affiliate Services, Hans Pauling, join us to tell us what that office offers the public. Hey, Hans, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Coping with COVID.
Thank you very much, Tre.
Absolutely. So listen, first of all, let's find out, what is Affiliate Services over at the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office?
Well, within the office, obviously, we handle criminal prosecution, but we also have a whole another side of the office that offers diversion programming such as pretrial intervention, alcohol education program, as well as traffic education, worthless check program, expungements. We have juvenile PTI. We have drug court, which is the adults, as well as now a juvenile drug court program. And we have mental health court, veterans court, and DUI court. So all of these programs we list as affiliate services.
Right. We're going to get into all of that in a minute. I want to ask, though, why is there a need for affiliate services? And then you can tell us a little bit about your diversion programs.
In order for the office to function as well as it does, we have to have options when it comes to just simply prosecuting people, putting people in jail, or putting them in probation. So I think getting people some help with some of the issues that they might be having when they come into the office is a good thing. And we work together a lot of times with law enforcement, public defenders, private attorneys, just to try to make sure that we can help people so they don't come back into the system and they're not permanently part of the system.
Yeah, I think that's such a great, idea, because I love that you guys, yes, you prosecute, but then you also offer some help, because sometimes people just make a mistake or fall into the wrong pattern or something. So I love that people can come to the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office for various things. So tell us, when are some of these programs offered? Are these ongoing, or are there certain times that people can take advantage of them?
Depending on which court the person has their charge, if they're in the municipal or magistrate's court, they can get a referral from the judge with the consent of law enforcement. And then we're open for the pretrial intervention, traffic education, and alcohol education program. We also allow them to come in from magistrate's court for drug court or mental health court. The circuit court is a little different because they are allowed to make a self-referral if they have a qualifying charge. And if that's the case, they just have an application fee with a drug test and then we do the application. After review, if it's approved, then they'll go into the program at that point.
We're talking to Assistant Solicitor and Director of Affiliate Services, Hans Pauling, and he is telling us about all of the programs, diversion programs that they offer under their affiliate services umbrella. So, Hans, let's talk about some of the programs. The first one is pretrial intervention. Tell us about that.
This is probably the best known and the oldest program, founded like in the late 70s and 1980s, just to give an alternative to traditional prosecution. This is obviously a program you can only do one time in South Carolina, and you can only do it in one place. If you have charges in more than one county, the cases can be combined, and you can participate in the program in the county that you live in, if that's one of the counties where you're charged. But the main thing with pretrial intervention is it does give people an opportunity to perform certain task within the program, and when they finish and they've completed that, their charge can be dismissed. They can then later apply for an expungement underneath the statute for qualifying PTI. So it's a great program if somebody does, like you said, make a mistake, made a bad choice, fell in with the wrong crowd, whatever reason there was. And it also, we give notification to law enforcement as well as the victims to see what their feedback is regarding a pretrial program for that particular defendant or client.
Okay, so you said something that you said they get into a program or do some type of work or something. Is it one or many? What are some of the types of pretrial intervention programs can folks get into?
Yeah, so there's basically 4 or 5 specific requirements.
Okay.
And it all depends on their original application. So if they apply for the program and they have a positive drug test, they may be required to participate in drug counseling with a local provider. But if they don't test positive for drugs and they don't have a drug-related charge, that would not be something for that individual defendant to participate in. So each program is almost tailored, no pun intended, to the particular defendant and their charge. If they have some type of harassment or assault or any type of aggravating case where they, victimize somebody physically, they may have to participate in anger management, life skills, psychological counseling. And to be honest, sometimes we can give them more in PTI than they can actually get through the criminal system, because you could just go into court and plead for time served on a low-level charge, pay a fine, do 45 days in jail and walk out.
Right.
But if you do that, that conviction is going to be there forever, possibly. So we try to find ways to help.
But you know what, Hans, not only that, you still got the problem. You haven't done anything to help yourself, so to speak, with, working out whatever the issues were that brought you there.
Yes, I think one of the biggest advantages of pretrial intervention, the other programs, is you are trying to deal with something when you first encounter it, when it's outside the house, when it's out in public, it's in the community. And this sometimes is the only chance you have to change somebody's behavior effectively. Yeah.
We're talking to Prosecutor Hans Pauling. He is the Director of Affiliate Services at the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office. And we're talking about affiliate services and some of the diversion programs. So traffic education is the next one. Let's talk about that.
Traffic education is for people that receive a violation, I think up to 4 points. It's prohibited for commercial driver's license by statute and federal law. But for somebody in the magistrate court or municipal court, if they get referred to traffic education program, they can perform, I think, pretty much everything online. And then they're allowed to go ahead and have that ticket dismissed upon completion. There is a cost associated with the program, and then that cost is split between the solicitor's office and whatever court the ticket comes from. And then the driver doesn't have that on their record and doesn't have to pay higher insurance premiums for a couple of years because of that, waiting for those points to drop off.
Right. Okay, good. You know what, Hans, before we move on to the next one, there was something I wanted to ask you about pretrial intervention that you said something and I forgot about it until just now. Because you said that if the person goes to jail and, does their 45 days, the charge doesn't drop off, but it does drop off with pretrial intervention. Can you talk a little bit about that before we move forward, please?
Yeah, one of the most common outcomes for low-level offenses is a plea to time served.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think it's just the easiest way to get rid of something, but you're not getting rid of it. You're putting it permanently on your record.
Gotcha.
So a lot of times if somebody's in jail, but they are a PTI eligible case, the public defender's office or a private attorney will ask if that person can be released from jail to participate in PTI. And then we go ahead and have them do an application and put them in the program. And that way, they were in jail, but they're out and now they can participate in the program. They haven't entered a guilty plea. And then if they finish the program, we can go ahead and do a dismissal.
Okay, yeah, that's good information to know, the difference between those two things, and that the pretrial intervention, like I said, not only gets you help, but then like you said, you don't have this permanently on your record. Do you know about these types of things? Do people know about these types of things when they go into court? Is the lawyers, the attorney or public defender, whomever, supposed to tell them about these options?
I tell people, obviously, you should never go to court without a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too risky. Even myself as a lawyer, if I was facing something, I would hire a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because that person would be more objective than I would be.
Yeah.
In my own case. But yeah, the public defenders are very knowledgeable about the diversion programs. And most of the time they anticipate a charge that would qualify. Private attorneys also are very familiar with pretrial intervention, alcohol education, and traffic education. But we do encourage people to contact our office if they have any questions, and our website has all the programs listed for them.
Okay. All right. So now we also talked about traffic education. Again, the good thing I think about that is, you don't have that stuff on your record. And again, that just goes back to higher insurance costs and everything else. Alcohol education.
Yeah. So alcohol education program is from people 17 to 20 years old. You usually see people who are down in the 5 Points area or entertainment district, and they may have a fake ID. They may be drinking in public or consuming alcohol as a minor. Anything that is alcohol related and they fit in that age range and it is a municipal or magistrate level offense, even if it's a disorderly conduct, but it's connected to alcohol. Okay. So they can qualify for alcohol education program. It's actually a program that obviously with the colleges in Columbia, we do get quite a few students. But if you're 19, 20 years old and you get a charge like that, you don't want it to hold you back later in life. So it's a great program to have available.
Okay. All right. So that is the alcohol education program. And again, anyone, any age is eligible to get educated about alcohol.
No, it's strictly 17 to 20.
17 to 20. I see.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So these,
because once they're 21, it's not the same. Right. So
right.
they have to go to PTI.
Right. Once they're 21, they should be educated about alcohol.
Yeah. They can buy it, but yeah, drinking it in public, they'll still get a ticket. So but then we refer them to PTI usually because now they're over the age, and all of these programs sort of have an overlap like that.
Okay, great. So worthless check is the next one.
Yes. So worthless checks, anyone who receives a bad check, especially a business, they're free to complete the documentation application, and our office can go ahead and try to secure the payment for the check. You can see from the slide if the payment's collected and the victim's paid, then we just go ahead and close that case. If it's not paid, then oftentimes a warrant can be issued for the person that wrote the bad check. So either check fraud or non-payment of check. And then those cases are actually referred to the magistrate or the municipal court, or if the value of the check is over a certain amount of money, it comes to circuit court. I don't think you see as much check writing now because there's so much, I guess, so much fraud connected with it. But that's what our worthless check unit is designed to do, is to collect for merchants and citizens who received a bad check. And
and I guess people are not writing as many checks.
No, I don't. I mean, I rarely write a check. And I think some grocery stores will still take them. But just the process, if you cash a check for somebody and you're Piggly Wiggly or someplace like that, that you are at risk because they're going to target you if they're that kind of person and they want to write bad checks.
So is there a program like this for credit card fraud or credit card, or using a credit card incorrectly or something like that, a worthless credit card, or debit card, which is
So okay, if you use a debit or credit card fraudulently, there's actually what we call financial transaction card fraud, and it is a criminal charge. It's a statutory charge. It does fall into PTI as far as being eligible, and that would be the recommendation if you had some issues with a credit card. And if you're someone who was the victim of credit card fraud, you still have to go ahead and file a complaint with the local law enforcement agency. They will investigate. They will then issue a warrant if the probable cause is determined. And then after that point, the person who receives the warrant and is arrested, they may still be eligible for PTI because that charge is a qualifying PTI charge.
Interesting. It sounds like it's more severe. Credit card, debit card, fraudulent activities, that's a little bit more severe than checks.
Well, I'll just tell you this. If you write a bad check and our office finds out about it, you have a chance to make good on the check without any problem. Our office knows about it, and that's the difference. So in worthless check, the person, like say it's a store, they can send us notification, a copy of the check and the basic facts, and then we will try to work with the person who wrote the check before law enforcement is really involved. It's only after they fail to provide restitution for the victim that we go back to law enforcement and we say, hey, can we get a warrant for this person based on this? And then law enforcement will say yes or no. So that's why the worthless check seems less. It's only because we have the opportunity through the worthless check unit to intervene early and try to get the money for the victim. And that's really the main purpose. It is a real community service program because it allows us to do that.
Yeah. Hans Pauling joins us. He is assistant solicitor and prosecutor. He's director of affiliate services, and he's been talking to us about the affiliate services that the Solicitor's Service Office offers for folks in Richland and Kershaw counties. We just finished talking about worthless check. We also talked about alcohol education for 17 through 20-year-olds. Traffic education, pretrial intervention. Let's talk a little bit now, Hans, about your treatment courts. What is that?
We have adult drug court, veterans drug court, DUI court, homeless court, all these courts that are focused on what we call best practices for substance abuse or for mental health. And adult drug court is probably the most well-known program. It's obviously for adults 17 and up who are charged in municipal magistrates court or in circuit court. You can see it's a 12-month treatment plan. There's different phases within the court, and you sort of get promoted through the program as you progress in the treatment. It's a great program. I've actually attended a couple of the graduations for people that have gone through, and it can be life-changing if you have the tools and then you learn how to use them, and you can, day for day, each time, just stay sober. Yeah. So on the adult drug court, I'm very familiar with that. If you want, I can talk about the next one, which I think might be whatever slide you're going to come up with again. Veterans court or DUI court. And they all have very similar substance and structure.
Okay, that we've got, the DUI Treatment Corps.
Yeah, so now this is something that Richland County has that not a lot of other circuits have. You have people that get multiple DUIs in their life, and they might get locked up for a little while, and then they're back out on the street, and then they want to get back out and drive, and they're not supposed to be driving.
Right.
This is actually an attempt to correct the substance abuse problem that led to those DUI arrests. And then generally you have to have 2 or more DUIs to qualify for the program. So it's not like for the first time DUI person can go to DUI court.
Right.
That's one of the exclusions.
Okay. All right. So anyone with 2 or more DUIs can come to the program. So what is happening within the DUI program?
Well, they have to wear like a scram monitor.
Okay.
And that actually checks for alcohol content in the blood through the skin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they wear it for a couple months. And that's actually how they graduate from one phase to the next, is to show that they do not have violations of the scram monitor. So then you know that the person is abstaining from alcohol. So
Hans, let me ask you this. Do they have to abstain from alcohol while they're driving, or do they have to abstain from alcohol altogether? Can they have a drink on Friday night at the house if they're not going to drive?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the monitor, you wear the monitor all the time.
Okay.
What you're talking about is the law that was passed a few years ago where people had a breathalyzer interlock included inside the ignition system of their car.
Right.
And that was for people who had, severe alcohol problems, and they had to blow maybe every 20 minutes while they were driving the car, because they didn't want people drinking after they, but that's another separate issue. It's not part of our DUI court. But.
Right. And then after a period of time, they remain alcohol free. And then what happens then?
Well,
you say they graduate out of the program. What does that mean?
Yeah. So just for clarification, in order for you to enter adult drug court or any of the treatment courts, you actually have to plead guilty to your charge in criminal court.
Okay.
So when you plead guilty, you are then diverted, which is why these are called diversion programs. But these are post-conviction diversion programs as far as treatment court. And if they graduate, they will revisit the conviction, because the sentence is held in abeyance because you've been diverted. As long as you are in the program and you're progressing, then at some point and you graduate, they will go back and tell the court, hey, this person was successful. And then the judge can dismiss the case. If you are unsuccessful and you're sent back to court, the judge could then impose sentence on you because you've already entered a guilty plea.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And then you can, I guess, drive again, or you can qualify to get your license if you haven't had it revoked.
Well, that's a DMV question, because they have their own priorities and their own protocols. So if you get a DUI and it's dismissed, that doesn't mean obviously that the other points that could be associated with your license are going to go away. So yeah, I couldn't answer that one with any certainty because the DMV does have its own procedures.
Okay. I think there's one more slide that we have for the treatment courts, the veterans treatment courts. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I think it was maybe 2015 or 2016. I think we were one of the first circuits to have a veterans treatment court. Now, the benefit of the veterans treatment court is that the services and the counseling are usually provided through the VA in Columbia. So it doesn't have a high cost connected to the program. And you can see there's some charges that are excluded, but for the most part, minor criminal offenses, property crimes, drug cases, those can all be referred to the Veterans Court after they've entered a guilty plea to whatever charge was agreed to upon disposition. The Veterans Court program is a very good program. We deal with the Durham Medical Center on a fairly regular basis, and they have their own law enforcement unit down there that's underneath the federal government. So things that happen at the VA or things that happen in Columbia where people are qualified for VA programs. This makes full use of that. We've actually had people that didn't even know they had medical benefits with the VA. They didn't realize that the VA had so many services for them. And, to be 53 or 54 years old and never have joined the benefits of all the service you gave to the country until you get in trouble. And then all of a sudden you say, hey, wait a minute, I can go to counseling. I can get drug treatment. I can get medical treatment. I like the Veterans Court program because it does bring veterans together with the VA programs.
All right. And so along with, this is, I guess, a collaboration between the Solicitor's Office and the VA that come together, as you said, to help them with everything from substance abuse to mental health assistance with other needs. And this is only when, Hans, again, if they've gotten in trouble.
Yeah, so pretty much all of our treatment courts, except for homeless court, which we haven't talked about, all of our treatment courts involve someone who is facing criminal prosecution.
Gotcha.
And we have people on our staff who actually supervise the progress of the individuals in the treatment courts. Mm-hmm. And we have a program director for each court, and that individual does the staffing between the counselors, the clinicians, the judge. So it's a community effort within our office as well to bring together all these people. And that's what makes the program so good and healthy and strong, because it's not just one person making the decisions.
Prosecutor Hans Spalding joins us. He's the Director of Affiliate Services at the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, where he's Assistant Solicitor, and he joins us to share with us the programs and services the office offers. Coming up, we're going to talk about homeless court, the expungement program, and a couple of more. You're watching No Justice, No Peace with the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor, and we'll be right back. Thanks, Hans. We'll come back in a minute.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Aiken Cockrum. As Miss America, I know that taking care of yourself is important. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. Brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Visit Davis Tax Service today, 803-419-1001.
You're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor, and we are streaming live on the TailorMade production page. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Not only will you be able to get notifications as to when to watch Coping with COVID, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and first Monday with comedian George Wallace, you'll also get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button, please. And if you'd like to watch past episodes of Coping with COVID, that's the place to do it. Listen, we're also streaming live on the Fifth Circuit Solicitors page on Facebook. They've got some great information there. And today, it's No Justice, No Peace. With the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, we're talking to Assistant Solicitor Prosecutor Hans Pauling. He is the Director of Affiliate Services, and he's been giving us some great information about the programs and services offered at the Solicitor's Office. Please hit the replay button if you just joined us, because we went over lots of great information that could help you or someone you know. Hans, thank you again for rejoining us. Like I said, we really went over a lot of great information. It's so exciting to hear and to know that the Solicitor's Office is, partnering with other organizations, whether it be the City of Columbia, the VA, DMV, to offer all of these services for folks in Kershaw and Richland County to help people get back on track,
Well, a lot of times, there's just a danger zone involving certain people from 17 to 23 or 17 to 25. And that's it. I mean, after that age gap period there, they never come through the system again. You never see them again. And maybe it's a lack of judgment, poor decision making. So
just being young and dumb.
I don't want to say that, but it's a lack of wisdom.
You're just young and dumb. You're just young and dumb. Let me just speak for me.
But these programs are very beneficial to those who complete them and get something out of that. That's for sure.
Well, we talked about a pretrial intervention. We talked about traffic education, alcohol education, the treatment courts. And I want to talk about adult mental health, because right now, in lieu of COVID, adult mental health is such a big concern. And so many people are really affected by it before and especially now. Tell us about how the Solicitor's Office is helping in that effort.
Yeah, so Richland County actually had adult mental health court for a long time. It was just under a special court order. And then last summer in June, Chief Justice Beatty signed an order after an agreement was reached between the probate judge, Amy McCullough, and Byron Gipson, that the Solicitor's Office would take over the organizational management of the mental health court. And so now we have someone on staff who's a coordinator for us. The mental health court judge sits in probate court. I think it's Monday mornings at 10 o'clock, and they have a mental health court hearing. The staffing is done between the judge and the clinicians and the coordinator. The best thing about mental health court is a lot of times this is a focused monitoring of somebody over 12 to 18 months. And, it's basically to make sure that they're following what their clinician is prescribing for them as far as behavior, treatments, medications, and other things. And then when they finished, the charge gets dismissed. Before our office got involved, which was June 2021, the charge was not dismissed. Mental health court was a diversion from prison and incarceration. Now it does give you the same option that a drug court does, which I think makes sense, because a lot of times you will have people who are duly diagnosed with substance abuse and mental health. I mean, they're self-medicating with alcohol and with drugs because they have a mental health condition that maybe they're not taking medication for, or they have not recognized or had diagnosed.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, though, Hans, with the adult mental health court, is there a post treatment program, to help people continue to maintain their mental health?
Client is making a connection there during the program, we would hope that they maintain that connection with Columbia Area Mental Health. Once they're finished or graduated from the program, our services in the office stop because they no longer have a pending charge or a charge that falls under our jurisdiction as an office. So, and that's for all the treatment courts. I mean, we can only look after a certain case for so long, and then it just, it comes to its natural end for us as a prosecutor's office. But we hope that those relationships that are built during the program will last, and that comes from trust. If the client or the defendant has a trust of the service provider, then they can maintain that relationship beyond the mental health court or the drug court.
Yeah, that's key post-help, because not only is that going to help the person, I mean, because listen, mental health is an ongoing thing. And when things like COVID or like death or like financial problems come up, those mental health issues could also, be triggered by just everyday life occurrences. And that will, just continued communication with their treatment provider will not only help them, but prevent them from coming back through your system, through the solicitor's office.
Yes. And it also helps to sometimes stabilize the family, home life, because, as a prosecutor, I have had to deal with individuals who had significant mental health illness, but they were not incompetent. They were competent, but they just have mental health issues. And a lot of times, you would get a call from the parent of the defendant asking you to intervene and do something. And that's something for the defense attorney to work with. As a prosecutor, you have to be very careful, but you feel that this might be a better solution to help everybody, is to make sure somebody's in treatment, that they're looking after what they're supposed to do. And then it sort of calms things down in the house. And then that helps make everybody a little more secure in the environment.
Yeah. I mean, I know, law enforcement is not specifically what the solicitor's office does. But I know that several law enforcement agencies are also adding mental health in their, responding to people, because it may not always be a criminal issue. Oftentimes it is a mental health issue, and these types of situations have to be handled differently than, a criminal threat.
Well, and Tre, to support what you just said, crisis management in the field has now become one of the top priorities with law enforcement, because those officers are not trained necessarily, although now they are getting more training, and they often have on staff somebody who is specifically trained. But, that individual may only work 40 hours a week.
Right.
Well, 40 hours a week is not at 2:00 in the morning.
That's right.
And so,
which is sometimes when mental health issues occur.
Everything happens at night. Like at night is when all kinds of stuff happens. And so, you're right about that. I mean, 7 to 3 or 8 to 4, you may not encounter as much as you would at 2:00 in the morning.
Hans, you probably don't know this song by Houdini.
You'd be surprised what I know.
Okay, so the freaks come out at night. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know that song. Yeah, I know that song. Yeah.
Hans Pauling joins us. He is a prosecutor, assistant solicitor. He looks a little, he looks a little hard right there in that picture right there. He looked like he would know a Houdini song.
I grew up in just outside of Southeast Washington, D.C. So yes. I used to go to all those shows back then,
All the rap shows? Okay, now, come on now, Hans.
Rare Essence, Trouble Funk, you name it.
Listen, that's a whole different conversation. See, you grew up on go-go. Because you grew up in D.C., the D.C. area.
Run, Joe, run. That's right. Chuck Brown, what's up?
Chuck Brown. Yeah.
All right, stop. Let's finish what we're doing.
That's right. That's a whole nother show. He is director of affiliate services, and has been telling us about all of the great programs that are offered through the solicitor's office. Listen, Hans, our city, like so many others, has a significant homeless issue. Tell us about the homeless court and what that entails.
So in January of 2015, we were granted an order by the Supreme Court, and Nelson and Mullins has a pro bono attorney, George Cawthon, who helped us, and he wanted to set up a homeless court in South Carolina. He thought Columbia would be a good location. And so that's how the court got set up, with George's help and the help of Nelson Mullins and the Richland County Public Defender's Office and the Solicitor's Office, along with the City of Columbia as a court, meaning the municipal court of City of Columbia. We all decided we were going to go ahead and try to work as a team regarding homeless court. Now, homeless court is not a traditional court at all. It is it's the only court really where when the session is over, most people are extremely happy because something special probably happened. And what we do is people are referred to the court by a social worker, or at transitions, they have a case manager. They can come from the library, Oliver Gospel Mission, any place where someone is homeless and looking to try to find a way to get out of homelessness. And those barriers that exist, driver's license, minor criminal offenses on their record, getting a social security or identification card because they don't have the right paperwork. Those things all come through homeless court. If the person had a prior conviction in the city court, a 30-day offense or less, or if the person just wants to come to homeless court so they can work on some other things that have nothing to do with a criminal record. And that has happened more and more frequently because the court serves as a hub for all the service providers so they can work together and try to help somebody. So that could be USC's Housing First, any type of transitional housing, Mercy. There's so many groups in Columbia that are working with the homeless. And now we feel like the homeless court is sort of bringing all of that together. And we've been in operation for about 7 years. And in 2020, we did win the municipal award for public safety. It went to the Columbia Police Department with basically because of the homeless court, because they are one of the they're the law enforcement agency that does our referrals. A lot of times in court, they'll say this is a homeless court case. So we are really grateful to Chief Holbrook and that department because they really do support our efforts to try and help the homeless situation in Columbia.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's more of a hub, I guess, so to speak, for resources for homeless people to, have an opportunity to get all of the resources that are available through the city and county.
Well, I think the main thing is if somebody is homeless, we don't always know what it is.
Right.
It could be substance abuse. It could be mental health. It could be financial destitution. It could have been a string of bad luck or bad decisions. So when they come into the court, they're just introduced and it's very informal. And then if they have something that needs to be fixed to help them find more stable housing or to get a job, is another big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Then we can help them. They'll be able to access the resources in the public defender's office. They'll be able to seek some type of change or modification in their prior criminal history that went through the city of Columbia using the resources in the solicitor's office. So between those two parties, we can make some changes and lower or remove barriers to homelessness, at least in the area of getting stable residency and also possibly getting a job.
Yeah, that's big, because as I said, Columbia is like many other cities that are dealing with homelessness. And this sounds like a really great, innovative way to really tackle what the issues are, because these are people that have backstories and reasons why they do what they do and are where they are. And, they've got to be treated not only like human beings, but their issues have to be treated. The source of what is going on and what has happened in their lives have to be treated so that they can, get out of homelessness and transition into a better life for them, which helps everybody. So I love that. Hans Pauling is with us. He is Director of Affiliate Services at the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. He's also Assistant Solicitor and a prosecutor, and is telling us about all of the programs and services that are offered through the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. A lot of people talk about and want to know about expungement, Hans. And first, tell us, what is expungement and how can you get expunged from, and for what?
Okay, so expungement is the erasure of a criminal arrest record and a conviction from your criminal record. So it's under statute, everything is statutory. And on our website, there's the actual application. So you can see that those numbers you have, number 1, dismiss, no bill, no pros, fraudulent check, first offense. These are the categories underneath the expungement statute where you can apply and hopefully get these items removed. And if you have a couple of different things on your record, but they fall under this list, then we can process all of those. But sometimes, if you have 2 shopliftings, we can only do 1.
Gotcha.
Because the statute says 1
right.
30-day offense. But, we've had people that went through PTI 15 years ago, and then they got like assault and battery, 30-day charge 5 years ago. And so they came for the expungement, and they were actually eligible for the assault and battery third, which was a fee. I think it's like $250. And then the SLED $25 verification, and then the filing fee with the clerk of court is when we prepare the order. And our office makes a decision about whether or not a charge can be expunged, but SLED has the ultimate say on whether it's going to be removed from their record. Our office doesn't have control over that. So if you come in and you say, hey, I want to have this case expunged, most of the time we don't have issues with it. But when we send it to SLED, provided things were done correctly whenever the case was closed, then SLED usually will follow the statute and expunge the record. And then we have to send the order out to all the agencies that touched it.
Right.
And that's what takes a little bit of time is you might have 5 or 6 different parties that are responsible, whether it's bond court, preliminary court, the jail, the sheriff's department, whoever, and let them know, hey, this has been expunged. That's the hardest thing is to clean up. And I mean, now with the internet over the last 25 years, I mean, if it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah.
And we only have control over certain things, not everything. So.
Yeah. But so as you said, there's a cost involved in expungement. Certain charges can be expunged. And does the person directly come to the solicitor's office to pursue expungement?
Well, we put the application online I think when Solicitor Gipson came into office. And so they can print that down at the library or at home if they have a printer. Then they have to go on the SLED website and they print off their own criminal record. They pay for it themselves. It's like $25.
Okay.
Because if we print a criminal record, we actually can't give it to the person because we have restrictions under federal law.
Okay.
So we tell them, go ahead and print your own record and then attach it to the application, complete the application. And most time they mail it in. We get lots of mail on expungements. And then they can also drop it off if they want. And people don't really fax anymore. I mean,
right.
in my opinion, the fax is like a dinosaur. Like, I'm like, is that a T-Rex you just But we have had, I think, over 500 expungements submitted in the last 8 months. So it's 50 to 70 a month. So it's pretty busy. And some of them are free because if charge gets dismissed and it's not connected to a plea, then it's free under the statute. So, and people don't know that sometimes. They think it's automatic. It's not automatic. They still have to do the application. We just process it at no cost.
We've talked about a lot of programs here, Hans. Before you leave, I want to ask you, is there anything for youth through the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office?
Yeah, we have a juvenile PTI program. There's also outside of our office, but in conjunction with our office, is the youth arbitration program that's run by the Richland County Sheriff. So those are 2 programs that are specifically designed for juveniles. We also recently just reactivated our juvenile drug court. So we are currently putting that together. We'll, have it up and running probably in the next 90 days. And the juvenile drug court services kids who are in family court and may have a drug charge or have a drug problem with some other type of charge, like a property crime or stolen vehicle or whatever. We just try to find a way to get them help when they're young so they don't go into the adult system.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of an important program for us. And we just some retooling of it over the last year and a half, but it should be fully functional within a few weeks, and we're very excited about that.
Awesome. That is very exciting. Hopefully you can come back on and talk a little bit more about the youth program. So all of these services that we talked about, except for the homeless program, which is only for City of Columbia, all of this is for Richland and Kershaw counties.
Well, yeah, we have all of our diversion programs that PTI, TEP, AEP, and Worthless Check are in both counties. And then adult drug court is in Richland, and then the Alpha Center runs the adult drug court in Kershaw.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's our provider basically on site in Kershaw. And then the adult mental health court is for Richland County residents only. Because that's why we talked about Columbia Area Mental Health, and I think DMH has some requirements about servicing people and what their county of residency is. And then on the juvenile side, we do juvenile PTI for both Kershaw and Richland, and the juvenile drug court is going to be for Richland. We won't have something in Kershaw, but whether or not we can expand it is hard because the parents are the ones who have to drive the kids. So we'd have to work through that.
Yeah. Great information, great programs and services through the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. If people want more information, you can see the information on the screen. Contact Assistant Solicitor Prosecutor Hans Pauling. He is the Director of Affiliate Services at the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. You can see the website and his email address if you want more information. Hans, thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, these are some amazing programs that the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office is already implementing and getting ready to kick off. And just appreciate you and Byron and all the folks there, trying to help folks through the rough patches of life, So
being a prosecutor, use as much objectivity and grace when they make those choices, because that's a human being. There's a victim on the case. There's law enforcement on the case. There's other members of the community on the case and the victim. And so it's good to have these options out there.
Yeah. Hans Pauling with the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. Thank you again so much for joining us, Hans, today. I appreciate it. Have a great day. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email booking@copingwithtretatailor.com. That information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, email copingwithtretatailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor of Coping with COVID, just like the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. Also, the In It Together SC, the Diabetes Action Council, Javis Tax Services, the Palmetto Media Connections, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus Systems, Palmetto Painting, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, and Black Expo. Coming up tomorrow, another New You in 2022 series with Tam Brown. She talks about making and keeping your goals. That's tomorrow on Coping with COVID. As usual, I leave you with an inspirational reading. I've been reading this book, Conversations with God, from Cheryl Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Centers. She says, God says, I made the sun, the moon, the trees, the seas, all living things. I created it all. I created you, and I know all about you. I know your joys and your sadness and your fears. I know you, God says. Take heed and know that I am God and that I am with you. I'll protect you. I won't let anything come to harm you. Know, my child, that my promises are true. I will open up windows and pour out blessings that you will not have enough room to receive them. I will protect you. I will keep you. I will comfort you always. I came into your life so that you can have it more abundantly. I came that you may have peace and courage, peace that surpasses all understanding. Trust me and learn from me, and I will be with you every step of the way. I see your fears and I hear your cries. I know your joys and your happiness. Remember to hold on to me and don't let go. Your blessings are happening right now. You are my child. You are being blessed every moment, every second of the day, because I am blessing with you. These is Conversations with God from Cheryl Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services. And I am Tre Tailor. Thank you again so much for joining us for Coping with COVID. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Take care. Stay well. God bless. Please get your booster and or your vaccine. And don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coping with COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In It Together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC, In It Together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.